got your wig, ho. Ha ha. You're mad, Miss Wikiana. Miss Wig, Miss Wikiana. Miss Wig, Miss Wig.
Right now, moving, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's exciting. You've evolved.
Go on.
I mean, you're Havenhurst for 30 years.
Yeah.
Fort Knox or the White House, it's one of the nation's most closely guarded compounds. The Jackson Estate, Mecca in the West, to fans throughout the world, is the official residence of America's first family of music. Behind huge walls, Joseph and Catherine Jackson raised their clan, Toya, Jermaine, Janet, and the beloved loved one, their billion-dollar son, Michael. The Jacksons came to this Encino, California mansion nearly 20 years ago after uprooting from their base in the Midwest. Jermaine remembers it like yesterday.
We all lived under the same roof, and I guess that's the importance of any family, is to keep it together and have a strong bond. We came out here in 1969, and we all had our rooms here. It's been sort of remodeled certain places and everything redone, but we all walked down to Gelson's store and buy our popsicles and our candy and stuff.
Meteoric success put an end to candy bar excursions. Solution, their own store on the estate. The Jacksons aren't saying which child sweet-talked mom and pop into okaying the sugar shack, but a clue might just be in the portrait gazing benevolently upon the family stash. Goobers to good and plenty, lollipops to licorice.
We all used to play basketball here. We had our basketball thing here, and we would do everything here. Then it was time for us to go on tour. We were rehearsed in this building right here, and we would do some recording there. Time to go on tour, we'd be ready.
For the Jacksons, to wish was to receive. Their home quickly became a fantasy land. Birds of a feather, each child outdid the next with increasingly exotic pets. Result, the Jackson Zoo.
There used to be a giraffe in this cage here, but it's not here. But we've always been into like animals and birds and snakes and everything, tigers.
Michael developed a special affinity with animals, but lately you won't find the man or his menagerie at the family home.
My mother, my parents, they didn't want me to leave. They said, you don't move out until you get married. When I did leave home, I left with my manager.
There was a quote in the paper that I had made a statement, but I didn't make any statement.
That's right, so that means that statement came from Jack Gordon.
Who? Right. Who? So you guys hate each other at this point? Really? Do you hate Jack?
No. I don't. Sometimes I do, but I have to say I dislike his ways. I don't hate him, but I dislike his ways.
Right.
She actually loves him. She has this deep feeling.
Right.
No, I'm just being truthful. I can sit here and lie to you guys. This guy's looking at me like, how can she say that?
No, I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's bad to say about Jack.
No, his way. Well, wouldn't you, if you find quotes and things that you didn't say, and people are thinking you're saying all these things, and you get bad rap for it?
Yes.
I mean, I have this image of saying things, and it comes
Where
from
is
Jay.
my friend at the
and
building,
then he
Ron?
pretends like he doesn't know where it came from.
Oh, well, I don't know.
And then when I check it, oh, Jack Gordon told us you said this. I said, I can just kill you. Why would you do something like that?
Jack, what's going on? Are you planting things in the paper that Latoya supposedly said?
Me?
God forbid.
I can't
This is
take
the
it
oddest
anymore.
relationship. This is really an odd relationship.
God forbid.
Yeah, and are you going to go off on your own and get your own apartment and everything?
No, he's leaving.
He is leaving the
I'm
apartment.
not leaving. He's leaving all of the
Jack, do you
places.
agree to leave the apartment?
Menza.
Really? You're not going to leave the apartment. You like the
I
apartment.
love the apartment.
So why would you leave the apartment?
Because I own it.
Oh, you own the apartment?
Yes, I own them. I own everything. Yeah.
How are you going to get Jack out of there? How are you going to get Jack? I mean, there's a problem here.
5'6" and
Latoya always has a
160 pounds.
problem.
Yeah, I guess she's going to have to call the police again. 'cause
I
Jack
go,
doesn't
Robin,
wanna
no
go.
ideas, no 911s.
So when will Jack move out? Latoya,
I don't
this
wanna
is
be
very
an OJ.
complicated, but when will you be free? It's like you two have not even communicated about this, but this is good that you're here because at least we can straighten it out.
Maybe we can
air
help
it out.
him with
What
his
you're doing,
divorce
actually,
settlement.
Howard,
Yeah.
You're bringing it more out in the open, actually.
Yeah, because you two have trouble talking to each other.
Absolutely.
Howard, I'm coming
Actually,
to you
we
for
have
counsel.
never talked about it. We've
Latoya,
never
let me
talked
be
about it.
blunt.
I've always told him I want a divorce, and I got very serious with him. I said, Jay, this is it. It's in. I can't take it anymore.
Maybe he doesn't know you're talking to him because you call him Jay. His name is Jack.
That's correct.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
he knows his
Oh, he
name
does
is Jay.
know?
Oh,
All
come
right.
on, Howard.
I never know with him.
No, he
All
knows.
right, let's get blunt now. This is how a counselor would handle it. Latoya, you want a divorce from Jack, but Jack won't give you a divorce? Is that
He
it?
wouldn't give me a divorce for years.
Okay.
You've wanted to divorce him for years. I didn't know that.
Yes.
All right.
She
Now,
hates him. Hate.
Oh.
H-A-T-E.
Now, LaToya.
But I told him we can always remain manager and artist, but I just wanted a divorce.
When I left home, I was innocent, I was naive. It was so easy for me to be taken advantage of. I was brainwashed by him. I really felt like a robot. I was being beaten.
Nothing has upset the family as much as LaToya's marriage to Jack Gordon, a Las Vegas hustler 18 years her senior. The Jackson family believed that Gordon was brainwashing LaToya, and they feared for her safety.
Myself and the family loves LaToya very much, and the doors are always open for her to come home.
Now, it looks like their biggest fear may have come true, and they want her home more than ever. Yesterday, Jack Gordon was arrested for beating up LaToya. When police arrived at the couple's apartment, they say LaToya was on the floor bleeding. At his arraignment, Gordon said he and LaToya had an argument, and he hit her only after she came at him with a knife. Gordon was released without bail after telling the court he was undergoing radiation treatment for cancer 5 days a week.
He's still her husband and still her manager, but she wanted to have say-so in the decisions. And between that and the radiation treatment and the mood swings, it may have just triggered him.
LaToya's friend, reporter Florence Anthony, has been talking with LaToya since her release from the hospital.
She looks terrible. Her mouth is swollen, maybe the size of my whole hand.
He dictated my career choices. I mean, they went from Playboy to writing the book. He made me say the things that he wanted me to say in my interviews.
LaToya, I've been reading your book the last couple of days, and I'm very much impressed. Let me tell you that. Because after reading it, I thought, what the hell did they do to you? What the hell did your father do to you? He abused you. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as you know from reading the book, there was a lot of abuse in the family. There was not only physical and emotional abuse, but there was also sexual abuse. And I think this is something that needs to be addressed to the world, to the public, to let people know that sexual abuse is wrong, and we should put a stop to it. My father was a very abusive person, and I think he didn't know how to control it, or he didn't know or realize what he was doing. He did lots of things. He would beat us constantly. He would take guns and put them to our heads and pull the trigger all the time until the day I left home. He would take matches and burn our toes, and he would laugh, and we couldn't do anything. Because if you would say no or whatever when you were asleep and he's burning your toes, he would beat you. So you'd have to stay there and just take the pain and not do anything.
What kind of man is this?
Well, I think he's mentally deranged, don't you?
I agree with you.
I think he's mentally disturbed. I don't think that...
But still, LaToya, you stayed with your parents till you were 30 years old. Why didn't you...
Until I was 29, yes, a very long time.
Why didn't you get out of the house sooner?
I made several attempts to leave. And, you know, you can ask me this question. Yes, of course. I made several attempts to leave. But I never could leave because my father would always say, wherever you go, I'm going to find you and bring you back home. And my mother was sort of like the silent partner. And she would always say, but it's not good for you to be out there alone. You're a girl and someone can follow you and follow you home, and it's very dangerous. But as you asked me that question...
So he terrorized the whole family in a way, didn't he?
Oh, everybody. I was basically next to the last to leave home. Michael left home 1 week after I did. And you could say, why did he stay? He could have left as well, but he didn't.
He not only did terrible things to you with matches and things like that, but he also sexually abused you.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
Yes, I don't want to get graphic with it, but yes, it was quite terrible. He would abuse my sister. We slept in the same bed, and he would sexually abuse her. He would come into the bed constantly, and I was right there in the same bed. And my mother would allow it to happen. She would say to him sometimes, Joe, not tonight. She's tired, don't bother her. And I would be right there in the bed, and I would keep the covers over my head because I would hear my sister fighting and screaming. And she asked my mother to go to a psychiatrist and get a psychiatrist for him, but she said no, not at all. So my sister left home at a very young age, and when she left home, then my father started sexually abusing me.
Who do you hate more? Your father who did these things to you, or your mommy?
I don't like to use the word hate.
I can imagine that you hate somebody who does that to you.
It's a wrong word to use, I think, this word hate. But I know that I should. Most people tell me that. Psychologists tell me that I should hate. But my mother, yes. Because my father was disturbed. I think any man who sexually abused his daughter, something is wrong right here. But nothing was wrong with my mother, and she allowed him to do these things. It's very wrong. You don't allow your husband to sexually abuse your children like this.
In general, LaToya, is it possible for you, after everything that happened to you, to have a normal relationship, not only sexual, but with a man. Difficult question?
Yes, it's a difficult question.
The answer is no, I think.
No, it's just a difficult question.
Called it a highly dysfunctional family, although on the surface it seemed like the American dream.
Yes, of course, naturally. In our family, because that was always that facade up there, smiling in front of the cameras, but when we got home, it was totally different. We lived an entirely different lifestyle at home.
Well, what was it like at home?
It was very, very hard. My father was very strict. He beat us.
Well, when you say he beat you, did he spank you, whip you? I mean, what?
He had a belt, you say in the book. Belts, whips, whatever. My brothers were grown, and my father would take his fist and he would punch them and knock them down the steps constantly.
Would they provoke him?
To this day, no, of course not. To this day, they are still afraid of my father, and they will tell you. They come to me and they say, well, Toya, we have kids in college, and we're afraid of my father still today. But my mother allowed this to go on, which makes it so bad. She didn't stop it.
She, too, was an abuse victim, wasn't she?
My mother, by my father, according to my brother, yes. According to Michael, he would tell me he would see my father beating my mother. I had never seen my father beat my mother. But he beats all of us.
So did this persist all through your childhood and continue into young adulthood?
Adults, everything. I mean, Michael was doing, I think it was Off the Wall, Thriller, and he was still getting beat. But what you guys see is him up on the awards, accepting these awards and smiling. My father's chasing him around the house, and he's running from him, terrified.
You said that Michael was the only one that actually tried to fight back and tried to hit your father.
He was a little boy, yes. He was the only one. I don't think he knew exactly what he was doing. But the more he would get beat, he'd throw it back at him and throw a shoe. He would have to always get the last lick in, always.
What's been the reaction of your family to this book?
I have no idea. My parents, of course, they're denying it. And, of course, typical that they would deny it. Denial is the first sign of dysfunctional and abuse as well. However, outsiders have accepted the book. And they understand. They understand about the abuse. There wasn't just physical abuse. It was also mental abuse, which is very disturbing, and also sexual abuse as well.
That you don't write about in the book. You allude to it, that your sister
Ruby left. I touch it
left.
very lightly because it's a very touchy subject, and it's dealing with my sister, and I wasn't able to talk about myself just yet. You have to be ready to come out and talk about these things. And it's a very sad story because Ruby is a wonderful person, I must say, and she left home at a very young age. She left home when she was, I think it was 16 years old. And the reason she left is because my father would get out of the bed with my mother, and he would get in the bed with Ruby. And Ruby would ask my mother, please, mother, get help for him. And she wouldn't. She would not. So Ruby had to leave home. There were times, of course, when my mother would say, Joe, not tonight. Leave her alone. Let her rest. Don't get in the bed with her. And then Ruby called me, and she said to me, she says, Latoya, I have a question I want to ask you. I said, what is it, Ruby? And she said, when I left home all these years, now this is just recent, all these years I wondered if Joseph ever sexually abused you the way he did me. Was it happening with you and Janet? And I couldn't answer her. And she says, please tell me, and I wouldn't. It's things that you don't talk about. And she says, Latoya, you have to tell me. And I said, Ruby, there are just certain things you don't talk about, isn't there? And she says, okay, I understand. And that's when she asked me about Janet. And I said, I don't know what happened to Janet.
But what about you, Latoya? Did he sexually abuse you?
Yes, he did. Very badly,
Do you think he did Janet?
I don't know. She's never spoken about it. I certainly hope he didn't. She has never spoken about it. My father, it began with me when Ruby left, and then it started with me.
So when did you decide that you were going to talk about it?
You live with this all your life, and you feel that you're doing something wrong, and you're frightened when this is happening to you. And you're embarrassed. I have been embarrassed all my life to ever talk about it, to mention it, shy, afraid that people can see through me and see that this is happening.
You felt like your family's living a lie all these years.
Well, they have been living a lie, definitely. But the disturbing and hurting part about it all is that my mother never did anything about it. And I wanted her so badly to say, Latoya, is he bothering you? Is he touching you? Did he touch you? I would direct questions to her and throw them at her, leaving it open so she could say, Latoya, did he ever touch you?
Why wouldn't she leave him then if it's
That's
true?
what Ruby would always say, Mother. And Ruby would tell me, I don't know why Mother didn't leave him. And you got to think, sometimes I say, is it because there are so many children? No, it wasn't that. Because after a while, everybody was old enough.
You've never asked your mom that?
Yes. She has no answer to it.
Is this the first time you've heard from them?
No, I've heard that letter before.
No, you haven't. They're sending it out to everybody before you go?
Everybody has this letter. Before I go on to show my parents send this letter out. Again, that's a sign of just wanting to deny everything. And it hurt so bad when I was on another program and my family, my parents actually, I should say, denied everything.
What kind of evidence do you have that your brother did in fact sexually abuse these young boys?
I want you to know that there aren't really any evidence. The only thing that I know of, and my mother has actually shown me these things, she's the one that was outraged and brought them to me, that were checks that were written to the little boy's parents. And there are 2 checks that I know of that she has shown me, and it's for a substantial amount of money. And she was outraged over it.
How much money, and are you certain you know what these checks were for? Let's say that Michael...
I don't know what they were for, but I know they were written to the parents of the little boys that would sleep over.
You're just assuming then that it's hush money. Did your mother ever tell you that this money was being given to the alleged the parents of the alleged victims to keep them quiet?
That's why I can't say that it's hush money. Apparently, it was given for some reason. I don't know why, but I do know that she was outraged during that particular time. This is around 84, mind you, and she would say things like, I can't stand this. He's nothing but a fag. I can't stand this. And I would say, Mother, don't say that. Just because you see a check doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean anything.
But basically...
And that's the way she took it. Now, to this day, she denies it because she has no support. In other words, if she were to go and tell the truth, Michael would drop everything and she would probably be out on the street. So she has to stand by in that way. But the only reason I'm speaking up is because I'm an abused victim and I don't want to see anyone else hurt like that because I know what it feels like to be hurt.
But basically, I'm sorry, LaToya, I was going to say basically because of these checks shown to you by your mother and the fact that Michael, do you know for sure that he spent 30 nights with this alleged victim?
I have never, ever, Katie, seen Michael in the bed with another boy. Never. I have never seen him. I do know that he would have boys over all the time. One, of course, and they would stay in the room for days. Then they would come out, and then there would be another boy, and he would bring someone else, but never 2 at a time or anything like that. Let me ask you a question. What 35-year-old man do you know that sleeps with little boys and stays with them for a week or 2 weeks or whatever, and sleep in the same bed? I'm asking you this question because this is a valid question. It's very open. Because most people would say, well, this is totally wrong. It's totally unfair.
Yeah, most people might...
And, what you have to remember is that Jordy, I do not know this kid. I have never met this kid. I know nothing about him. But at the same time, I feel bad for him, and no one's caring about Jordy. Jordy is in a very bad position. Even if it's not Michael, his parents have put him in a bad position. And there are a lot of Jordys out there.
Have you talked, LaToya, with your parents since making the statements last night in Tel Aviv?
I haven't spoken to my parents, no.
What's your reaction to what your folks had to say, LaToya?
My mother is very much aware of all the children that were there, all the boys that stayed there, and she is the one who always said that Michael, excuse my expression, but he's a faggot, and she would say, that damn faggot, I can't stand him. And that's what she would say all the time, and she knows it, and now she's denying it, and that's what hurts. But what hurts more than anything else is that if she knew that, then why didn't she say something about it or do something about it or get help because she felt that he was bothering little kids? I didn't understand the fact that he was bothering little kids. I didn't understand why the checks were written. She was the one who was trying to explain these things to me.
You claim
that now she's denying it and covering it up.
You claim that the reason your mom is siding with Michael is because your parents and the rest of your family are afraid that they'll be cut off financially from him.
He supports every last one of them. Jermaine lives in that house. His children lives in that house. Everybody lives there. He supports them.
You know, your mother also...
And I must tell you this, too, Katie. By the way, Michael and I lived at home from anywhere from 10 to 15 years alone without the other brothers because they married very early. They do not know the same Michael that I know. They don't know him whatsoever. And they never did. And when they would come over to the house, Michael would say, have them make an appointment. And I was the in-between guy, like a go-between. I would have to make excuses and say, well, he's busy, he's in his room. He'd run up to his room and say, I don't want to see them, I don't want to be bothered with him. And these are his own brothers. And I would have to make up excuses, and I go, Michael, but they're your brothers. I don't care, I'm busy.
Your mom also said that she thought your husband was a con man and a thug and accused him of beating and brainwashing you, and basically your folks say you're just out for publicity.
That's totally untrue. First of all, I don't need it. They also said I was doing it for the money. When you do a press conference, do you do that for the money? I think it's time to speak up and save innocent children.
Have you spoken?
No one has spoke up.
Go ahead, LaToya. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No one has really spoken out properly. No one has said anything about these children. And I think it's totally unfair. You have to ask yourself a lot of questions. There are a lot of questions to be answered and asked at the same time.
How many young children do you believe Michael?
Sorry?
How many young children do you believe Michael victimized?
I can't really answer that.
And have you had an opportunity to speak with your brother yet?
No, I have not. And I have tried, but I have not. I put phone calls in, but nothing has been returned. Absolutely nothing.
Do you think he'll be coming back to the United States, LaToya?
The problem is my parents, especially my mother, more than so my father has no idea. My mother knows that I know a lot, and she's afraid of what I might say, as well as Michael, because they know that I know too much. And now I think it's time to put an end to all of this.
Do you think Michael will come back to the United States?
I have no idea.
All right. LaToya Jackson, thanks very much for talking with us. Perhaps you can come on and talk with us another time.
I must tell you that this is very difficult for me, that Michael is my brother. I love him a great deal, but I cannot and I will not be a silent collaborator of his crimes against small, innocent children. And if I remain silent, then that means that I feel the guilt and the humiliation that these children are feeling, and I think it's very wrong. I have seen checks payable to the parents of these children. And I don't know if these children were apparently brought to the parents by Michael or not. But I have seen these checks, and I've seen these checks through my mother. She's shown me these checks that Michael had written to these children, and it's for a great amount. And I'm not speaking pennies. The sums are a very, very large amount. And this is my first time talking about it, and I never want to speak about it. I never want to say anything about it. But I think it's sad because I am a victim myself, and I know what it feels like. And these kids are going to be scarred for the rest of their life, and I don't want to see any more innocent small children being affected this way. I love Michael very dearly, but I feel even more sorry for these children because they don't have a life anymore. They don't. Now you stop and you think for 1 second, and you tell me what 35-year-old man is going to take a little boy and stay with him for 30 days, and take another boy and stay with him for 5 days, in a room and never leave the room. How many of you out there are 35 years old? How many men are out there? How many would take little kids and do that are 9, 10, 11 years old? I love my brother, but it's wrong. I don't want to see these kids hurt. I've been hurt by it, too. My father molested me sexually, and I don't like it. I don't like the way it feels. And to this day, this is my husband, and he can vouch for this. I will not have a relationship with him because of that. But I love him dearly, but I cannot. Perhaps one day I will come to terms with it, and I will be able to. But for now, I can't do it. And that's what I don't want to see happen to these little kids, because I know what it feels like in the heart.
But one day I couldn't take it anymore. And it was just, you're going to do porno now. No. Now you can kill me. That was the day. I finally made it out.
What made you walk away? How were you able to do that?
You know what it is, Robert? When you're in a situation like that and someone's controlling your mind and your thoughts and making you say things and telling you what to say, and you're not yourself, you don't remember what went on the next day, the following day, they're constantly keeping you that way.
Yeah.
It's the strangest thing. One day I asked for a Bible because I wasn't allowed to read anything. He would never let me read anything or watch television or do anything. So I asked for a Bible. And he slapped me. He says, no, you'll never touch a Bible. So I asked one of the workers, I said, please, if you can just get your hands on a Bible for me. Because I felt I needed that in my life. I kept praying to God for help to let go and let something happen. And please give me the strength to leave. And I just couldn't do it. So I asked for this Bible because whenever he would leave the house, we had a home in Paris. And in Paris, France, they have the locks that you lock the person inside. So he would lock me inside the house. When he goes, have you seen these locks where you can lock them inside? And I couldn't get out. So it locked me inside the house. Well, that went on for the longest until it got to the point when he would leave, he would tell me, now go in the closet. And I would literally sit in the closet for hours until he came back. That's how much fear he had instilled in me. Yeah. And there were certain days that he'd come back and just look and say, I'm just checking to see if you didn't leave the closet. And you know, I was so trained like a dog. I would just sit there on the floor in the closet like this the entire time. And I didn't know what to expect because if he comes back and I'm out, I know he's going to beat me again. So I just stay there. All that time I would stay there in the closet. And I said to myself, there has to be a better way. God, please show me the light. Please open it, show me something. So I continued to ask for the Bible from different people. Please, can you get a Bible for me? And finally, someone got a Bible for me. And when I got that Bible, I held on to it, and I wouldn't let it go. I took a shower with the Bible in my hand. I just wouldn't let it go. I felt that this is my protection. This is all I have, because I wasn't allowed to do anything else. And I said, this is my protection. I took a shower with it. I wouldn't let it go. And for some reason, I got so courageous. 2 days after having that Bible, I said, I'm leaving, and you can kill me if you want. He says, if you go near that door, I'm going to kill you. And I said, you're just going to have to do that. And I don't know where the strength came from. It just came. It came. And I said, but before I do it, I need my passport, because I didn't have a passport or nothing, a driver's license. You can't go anywhere without identification. And there was a battle. He wouldn't give me the passport. And I got so courageous. I picked up the phone. I said, I'm going to call the police if you don't give me my passport. And I said, and I mean it. And that's when he beat me. And I have the marks from here he picked up a bottle and just says, no, when did you get this defiant? Because I was so passive. And I think it's from being a Jehovah's Witness. You believe people, you trust people. And he was Bengali, and he was a con man. And I didn't know that world. I was so...
But you had the strength that day.
I had the strength that day, and I got on the phone. He went that night, after that night, he went into the shower and to take a shower. And I watched him, and I looked at the phone to make sure that he didn't pick up. The minute he got in the shower, I ran to my phone book, and I picked up the phone, and I turned to the J's, and there was the Jacksons, and I called the first number that I saw, and I dialed, and it was my brother, Randy. Randy answered the phone. I said, hi, Randy, it's Latoya. And he said, Latoya, hi, how are you? I said, Randy, you got to listen to me, please. You got to come get me. He goes, where are you? I said, I'm in New York. Please come and get me. And he goes, hold on. I said, no, I don't have time. And he put my mother and my father on the phone, and they said, oh, Latoya, please come home. Where are you? I said, I'm in New York. I said, you guys have to save me. He's going to kill me. He promised he's going to kill me. So Randy, he says, he hangs up, and my father goes, Randy, get on the plane right now and go get her. Randy gets on the plane, and I tell you, he comes to get me, and it seems like a lifetime.
Right.
It seems like it was going to be such a long, long journey, because I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And he's out of the shower, and he goes to his office in New York. And I keep my pajamas on all day because I don't want him to think that I'm going somewhere. And I keep them there. And just in case he comes back, because all these little tricky things, like I'm coming back to check, I'm suspicious. Because how do I know he didn't look and see the red light on to know that I was on the phone? And I kept my pajamas on, and Randy says, he says, I'm almost there, I'm getting closer, I'm getting closer. I said, please hurry. I said, and I told him where I was. I was in a hotel, by the way. And I said, okay, this is the room number, come up. And Randy said, okay, be ready. And he knocked on the door. I took my pajama bottoms on, put on a pair of pants, and just left like that without nothing. I left with absolutely nothing. Just a little purse bag.
And did you get an immediate sense of freedom?
I was so afraid. I have to tell you, I thought I was going to faint at the door. I was so terrified and afraid. And I said, let's go, let's run, let's run, let's go. And Randy says, no, we're getting right back on the plane. And we got into the limo, and we went right back to the plane.
And you were free?
And I was free. Yes, I was absolutely
My jaw
free.
is literally on the floor. What a story. But you were free. I love this. This is fantastic. What a story.
Thank you.
You don't understand what I really went through, Kathy. You really, no one knows.
Latoya and I lost 10 years when she disappeared. And I'll never forget when I bumped into you at the Waldorf in that Japanese restaurant. You would not get up from the table, and I thought, what is going on?
I lived in the Frank Sinatra suite.
Sure, and it's Francis Albert Sinatra, the engraving on
Yes.
the shower door.
Yes.
But I thought it was weird that you didn't call me.
Well, I couldn't, Kathy. I couldn't say hello to my friends. I wasn't allowed to speak to people. He had total control of me. I
thought at least you'd come to the ladies' room with me and...
No, I couldn't do that on my own.
And I never thought that I would survive. I never thought that I would get out of this relationship alive, because it was such an abusive relationship. The things that went on that the world had no clue that was going on. And he promised me if I tried to escape or get away or didn't do what he wanted or asked me to do, that he would kill me. And he was very adamant about it. I knew that that's exactly what he would do. So I figured if I can escape this and get away, then other people can do it too, because you're in a situation where you feel that you cannot get away from that. And I don't know what it is, but I think they get to your self-esteem, your self-worth, and you feel like you're meaningless. They control your entire being. I couldn't go any place. I couldn't visit people. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't talk on the phone. He controlled everything I did. But you guys, no one ever knew that, because during that time, I would be on television and smiling and everything was just fine. And the minute I got off, it's back into the room, close the door, back to the hotel.
Kathy, you don't have a clue. I would hear conversations and this person was going to die, and then turn on TV on the news. This man fell off the building. I would hear these things.
It goes to show you how one person can take control of your life, take your self-worth away from you, take your self-esteem, and control everything you do, and then give you ultimatums. If you don't do this, you don't say this, I'm going to kill your brother. And I believed him because the people that he hung around, the circle of people that he knew.
The mob.
Yeah, well, we spent a lot of time on Mulberry Street whenever I was in New York. And after I left him, there were 7 or 8 FBI guys that would come to visit me to tell me and talk to me about the situation.
I'm sorry. And that's what people didn't realize. And now you get it, why I wouldn't speak and why I couldn't do anything. It was like a Stepford wife. And you guys, nobody got it.
Hello, it is Karen Huger's Wig here. I wanted to say thank you for watching, and if you could give me a thumbs up on this video, that would be very much appreciated, okay? And you can also find these full videos elsewhere, like on X, TikTok, and Instagram, if you are feeling like you want to watch them on there and comment. So, yes.
It's been 2 years since Michael Jackson died, and as his doctor, Conrad Murray, heads into court to face manslaughter charges, the controversy surrounding his death still rages on.
This is hard. My brother, the legendary king of pop, Michael Jackson, passed away on Thursday, June 25th, 2009 at 2:26 p.m.
It was an announcement that shocked the world. Michael Jackson dead at 50 years old.
I couldn't believe that I was announcing my brother's death for the world. I was numb, very numb, because it was like a nightmare.
My sister Janet calls me and she says, she asked me, was I driving? And I said, no. I said, I'm not. I said, I'm getting ready to get on the freeway soon though. She said, no, pull over. Don't get on the freeway. And right then I knew something was terribly wrong. I said, Janet, is he dead? And she said, he's gone. And I just melted right there, and I didn't know what to do. I pulled over in this parking lot and just cried for like 15 minutes.
A judge refused to delay the trial of Dr. Conrad Murray. It's going to be taking place September 8th. It'll begin. Yes. Okay. He's being charged with involuntary manslaughter for administering these large doses of propofol, which caused Michael to overdose. The defense is saying that Michael was a desperate man. That's their position, the defense, for Conrad Murray.
Listen to the voice of Michael Jackson on May 10th, 2009.
When people leave the show, when people leave my show, I want to say, I've never seen nothing like this in my life. Go. I've never seen nothing like this. Go. It's amazing. He's the greatest entertainer in the world. I'm taking that money. I'm really children's hospital, the biggest in the world. Michael Jackson Children's Hospital.
That is what Conrad Murray is seeing and observing on May 10th, 2009.
That he gave himself the drug in order to help him sleep, that he gave it to himself, that Dr. Murray did not give it to him. And what do you think about the defense's case?
Okay, first of all, that's not true. And I've spoken to several different doctors. You cannot inject yourself with propofol like that alone. The minute you put it in, it goes into your system, you fall asleep immediately. Immediately, and doctors will tell you, and then you wake up after that. So somebody had to be standing there administering this to him.
You mean the minute it goes in, you fall asleep, and then you wake up immediately afterwards?
No, not immediately. Within 9 minutes or so, unless they're continuously doing it or something of that nature.
So he would not be able to overdose then?
He would not be able to overdose had he done this himself.
It was a concern. That's why I came forward to say, you know, what he'd asked me for was Depavan. And my concern, you know, and that he did not receive it. That wasn't my concern, but I was hoping no one had given it to him. And now that we know it's official, and that was, you know, I find that my worst nightmare was true. He suffered from chronic severe insomnia. And then when he asked me for the Depavan, I told him, this is not a medication for sleep. You know, it's not used for sleep. I went through in detail with him, including with the physician desk reference, the PDR, of all the side effects with it. And Michael was trying to reassure me that he would be okay as long as someone was to monitor him. And could I find him a physician? Could I find him a anesthesiologist? And this was his words. And I told him, I don't know anybody. I don't know anyone that would come and do this at your home. I don't know anyone. And don't do this. So we didn't discuss anything other than the Depavan in April. And he was very emphatic about, you know, I need something that's going to help me sleep. I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night. I want to sleep through the night.
According to testimony, Michael Jackson spent a portion of his last 24 hours dancing and singing at a rehearsal and was glad to see fans outside the Staples Center when he finished. He returned home and couldn't sleep, so he asked Conan Murray to administer the sedatives lorazepam and midazolam intravenously. When that didn't work, he took a Valium pill. Finally, he asked Murray to give him the propofol, a general anesthetic that anesthetizes in 40 seconds. Once in the body, propofol affects GABA receptors in the central nervous system. A mild dose causes decrease in eye pressure, cardiac output, and consciousness, but an overdose can make patients stop breathing.
I'm a board-certified cardiologist. I'm an interventional cardiologist. I have authority to write pain medication, controlled substance. I can write prescription on anything I want, but not on propofol. So that tells you how difficult access to this medication is. Well, this is the normal setup in a hospital situation or ambulatory care situation where you have a patient lying and have a oxygen hookup for sure, and then we are checking all the vitals and blood pressure, the heart rate, and make sure all the oxygen is available here in case the patient needs oxygen. And after reviewing the medical history, then we go for the medication. We explain to the patient, and usually we give them a very, very short period of time. Like the procedure I do, we give them Depavan only for 5 minutes at the most, or maybe less. The anesthesiologist is standing next to the patient all the time. So I may be coming out or coming in, but anesthesiologist through the entire duration is with patient. He's constantly monitoring, his eyes rolling from different views, from looking at the monitor, look at the patient, look at the vitals. So he's there constantly all the time until patient regain consciousness and become awake. So it's not that the anesthesiologist alone there. There's a whole team of people who can support anesthesiologists are right there in a fraction of a second request to get help. So this is a setting where you can get anything you want to support the patient in case the patient have a problem or stop breathing and is not regaining consciousness. The whole team will show up within a minute or so, and then you have all the help you need. No matter how much you want to do or how much money you want to spend, there's no way logistically that you can arrange all of that outside the hospital. It's just not going to happen. If assume he has given a medication, although we don't know for sure anything, he's done, because the way anybody is not supposed to give medication, and you're giving a wrong medication or non-prescribed medication, the state board will take your license away from you. There's no other choice. Plus the criminal charges you're going through. But cardiologists like me never ever dreamed to give this medication to anybody.
What you must also keep in mind is that when Michael first passed, right after that, the following morning, I was told, the coroner came and he said that whoever did this intentionally. Michael had enough propofol in him, he said, to kill an elephant.
Wow.
Now, mind you, propofol, it just leaves your body immediately. With Michael, it didn't, because he had a kidney and liver problem. So that made it stay into his system.
But you don't think it was Dr. Murray who did it?
Well, I think there was a conspiracy, right? Absolutely, Elizabeth. It was a conspiracy, and a lot of people were involved in this, and they know who they are, and they're very afraid of what I might say, of what my brother has told me.
Was he used in your mind, Dr. Murray, I'm speaking of, as the sort of hitman in terms of this conspiracy?
I think, honestly, in my total belief is that Dr. Murray was just the fall guy simply because he knew what was going on, but I don't know to what extent. Okay. And I can't say. I wasn't there when my brother was murdered.
But doesn't it boil down to who actually administered the propofol?
Exactly. Right. Well, who actually injected it into him completely?
Which would be that would be the person who would be tried.
Somebody was in Michael's house outside of that doctor during that time. Now that I do know, and I know who that person was that was in his house. Now whether that person did that or not, that I don't know.
But if you're saying that Dr. Murray is just the fall guy, and that there are people, you know, way bigger than him that was behind this, what do you want to see happen to Dr. Murray?
Well, first of all, let's look at it this way. If Dr. Murray, let's think about something. Now, if you're hiring an artist to sing for you and go out and perform, and you hire a doctor as well, the first thing you tell that doctor, if he asks for an aspirin, don't you give it to him until you consult us. That's the first thing. Why would you let a doctor be in there knowing that he's doing this and allow that to happen? Your concern would be more or less, don't give him anything. Why are they just letting this doctor do whatever he wants? Even when Michael said, I don't want the doctor around me, this is what he was being said the last days, but no, you got to have this person with you.
Why do you think Michael was concerned about this? What were they after?
Well, first of all, he told me over and over and over. When he first told me, LaToya, they're going to kill me. I said, who, Michael? First, I thought you're Michael Jackson. Nobody in their right mind would ever think of doing anything like this to you. That's what you think. He says, no, but you don't understand. And then I saw how serious he was. He said, it's bigger than what you think. I said, well, Michael, what is it? He said, it's my publishing. They're after my publishing. They want to take it. As you guys know, my brother had one of the largest catalogs in the world, meaning music-wise.
The Beatles collection was one of them.
He owned the Beatles, yes. Yeah. There's an elevator music that you hear, just everything, basically.
You know, let me just say this. The tradition of great performers from, and I really want you to hear what I have to say. The tradition of great performers from Sammy Davis Jr. to James Brown to Jackie Wilson to Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly. The story is usually the same though. You know, these guys work really hard at their craft, but the story ends the same because the companies take advantage of them. They really do. And Sony being the artist that I am at Sony, I've generated several $1 billion for Sony, several billion, and they really thought that my mind is always on music and dancing, and it usually is, but they never thought that this performer, myself, would outthink them.
Yeah!
So we can't let them get away with what they're trying to do, because now I'm a free agent. I just owe Sony one more album. It's just a box set, really. It's with 2 new songs, which I've written ages ago. Because every album that I record, I write, like, literally, I'm telling you the truth, I write at least 120 songs every album I do. So I can do the box set and just give them any 2 songs. So I'm leaving Sony a free agent, owning half of Sony. So I own half of Sony's, and I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me because of it. But I just did good business, you know.
Tell him! Tell him, Michael! Tell the story!
But so the way they get revenge is to try and destroy my album. But I've always said, you know, good art never dies. Thank you. I love Unbreakable. You know. And Tommy Mottola is a devil. I'm not supposed to say what I'm going to say right now, but I have to let you in on a secret.
Say it.
So, please don't videotape what I'm going to say, okay? Turn that off, please. No, what? I don't mind. Tape it.
Oh! Michael is getting gangster today! Yeah.
Mariah Carey, after divorcing Tommy, came to me crying. She was crying so badly I had to hold her. And she said to me that this is an evil man. And Michael, this man follows me, she said. He taps her phones. And he's very, very evil, and she doesn't trust him. And he is a horrible human being. And we have to continue our drive until he's terminated.
Oh! There you go!
We can't allow him to do this to great artistry. We just can't. I just want you to know I appreciate everything you've done. You've been amazing. You're so loyal, Diana. Everybody, Waldo, all the people here, I love you all. You've been amazing.
Thank you!
I love you. But still, I promise you, the best is yet to come.
I'm really intrigued because you say that there was somebody at this house and you know who it was. Can you say who it was?
No, I cannot say, because there are other people in the house as well. Because I prefer not to at the moment, but I will say this. I would love to have a one-on-one with several people. One person I would love to have. Safe? I would love to have a one-on-one with probably.
I mean,
Did you say that because you think that you could instinctively get from them if they had a hand in his death or not?
To the law
Have you
to deal with
police
this?
who this
You
person
can,
is?
okay, you said leave it to the law to deal with this. Yes, of course, the law is dealing with this, but however, you must think about it this way. Joy, if you had a brother or sister that passed, and you knew that your sister or brother were telling you that they were going to do this to him, that it was a group of people, and this is what's going to happen to me step by step, the way he said it, not only to me, but to my mother as well, wouldn't you be concerned and wouldn't you be involved to find out who did it?
Some fireworks today. Of course, Tommy Mottola is the head of Sony Corporation. Multi-platinum singer Michael Jackson is feuding with Sony and Tommy Mottola. Sony is, of course, his big-name record company. At a speech and rally with Reverend Al Sharpton in Harlem today, the gloved wonder charged that the recording industry was a racist conspiracy that turns profits at the expense of performers, particularly minority artists. Reverend Sharpton has recently formed a coalition to investigate whether some artists are financially exploited.
And we want the artists to be free. We don't want the companies bigger than the artists. We want the people respected and the stars that we make stars to shine in the galaxy for us. We were already off the wall. and we coming off our seats to stand up for justice in the music industry.
This is very important because throughout the years, black artists have been taken advantage of completely. And it's time now that we have to put a stop to this incredible injustice. And like Mrs. Sharpton was saying, people from James Brown to Sammy Davis Jr., some of the real pioneers that inspired me to be the entertainer that I am. These artists are always on tour because if they stopped touring, they would totally go broken. And it's been, the record companies really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially the black artists.
Now let me say this.
Sony Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist, and he's very devilish.
Into this way, and whoever else, artists that are on their label that are being sucks. Sony sucks. Sony sucks. I want to hear the guys in the back.
I think it's important to be here. I'm not just fighting for myself, I'm fighting for all artists. Those great artists who pioneered, you know, entertainment business as well as songwriting, as well as incredible staging. You know, the fact that they have been taken by the system, totally broken them financially. You know, and this has to stop. It's conspiracy.
You said out there that you felt that Sony was racist.
I didn't say Sony was racist. I said Tommy Mottola is racist.
Who's the head of Sony?
Yeah, Tommy Mottola.
Do you feel the recording industry as a whole has been, you use the word sort of conspiracy against black artists. Why do you think this has happened?
Why do I think this is? Because money is the root of all evil.
You also said out there that you believe that some of the recording companies take black artists' money. We brought up James Brown and some of these others. At the end of their careers, are broke and penniless.
Yeah.
What is your financial situation?
I'm in an incredible financial situation. I just wrote somebody a check for $500 million. But when good news doesn't sell, if there's something negative and that's a rumor, that's when it's blasted. I don't expect the press to say anything good, you know.
Well, I hear one of your dreams is to do directing. Tell what are some of the other things you want to do in your career?
Films. I'm going to make our own motion pictures, and I have a movie coming up I'm directing, and, you know, great entertainment.
What do you think of Reverend Al Sharpton, and why is his support so important at this time for you?
Because he's an incredible orator, and he is supported by, you know, the public in, I think, a beautiful way, and he understands. We need a mouthpiece, a voice for the voiceless, you know, and he's the guy.
Ultimately, it will be up to the legal system to deal with this. But you could be called as a witness by the prosecution. But of course, they consider that hearsay.
Yeah, that's of course. Does your family? I know you guys talk. You're very close. Do they agree with the conspiracy theory?
Oh yes,
They do?
A lot of the members agree with it. Absolutely. Are you kidding?
Okay, now you know, now the Jackson estate, it's not run by anybody from the Jackson family.
Nobody from the family.
It's run by two men who you feel were part of the conspiracy.
You know, we always hear the conspiracy theories, like, you know, they be like, oh, Bill Cosby was trying to buy NBC. Michael's the only person I believe they really tried to railroad like that because of what he did with the publishing in the music industry.
He talked about it all the time. He talked about it all the time. One thing I will say is that in the studio, he would always talk about how he lived in a certain fear. And I used to always try to reel him in a direction like, yo, you only supposed to fear God. Man shouldn't have you feeling like that. No man should have you living in that space. But he lived in that space a lot because he felt like he had something that was so valuable, which he did. He had something so valuable that people wanted.
He owned like half of Sony ATV's publishing, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you said it that way because I think people have confused the narrative. People for so long have said, Michael owned the Beatles catalog.
I heard that.
No, Michael owned Sony ATV.
That's right.
Which is Babyface, Mariah, the Beatles.
Beyonce.
Probably some of my catalog was in there.
Isn't that like half the music industry?
Yes. At the time, you had three giants. Sony was pretty much the biggest out the three at that time. And they did a deal with him that forever he felt that they wanted back.
You think they threw all those cases at Michael because they wanted it back?
I think it could have had something to do with it. I'm not going to say exactly that, but it could have had something to do with it. But I believe none of it because I was around Mike all the time and I knew the kind of person he was. So I'm like, they really trying to kill his character.
Yeah, I don't believe
And
it.
he would say it, like, he'd be like, they just can't stand that I'm the greatest. He would literally say that. He would literally say that. They just can't stand that I'm the greatest.
How was his mind frame during that time? Did he feel like the culture, especially black people, supported him and loved him, or did he feel like the world was turning against him?
Now, I would say we started to surround him with that. Like, if you look, there was a period where I think he didn't feel that. And I felt like he was like, I need this, right? So there were certain people that he started to reach out to put their arms around him, and he started to feel that. That's why he would do a summer jam with Jay-Z. He knew, like, I need people to have my back in this, and then certain people did wrap their arms around him.
Yeah.
And as things progressed, the one thing I can tell you about Michael that I started to learn was his family was strong. When they got together and wore all that white, they were wearing those white, going into court each day, you saw that unity in a different type of light. You're like, oh, yo, these Jacksons, they're not playing around with this. They unified. And I think that helped him, even though he was like probably going through it mentally weak and all of that. It's tough when you know you pretty much own something that everybody wants.
Michael Jackson has set another music industry record. Sony Music has struck a $250 million deal with the estate of the King of Pop. The partners say it's the biggest in recording history. It includes the release of 10 albums over the next 7 years, mixing unreleased material and older tracks. Sony also will license Jackson's songs for movies and video games. The pop star died last year at the age of 50.
Now, have Michael's kids, have anybody in the family received any money from his estate currently?
As of last week, from what I was told, no.
No, you haven't gotten any money.
No, from what I was told.
Okay, now we have to. I have to read a quote from the Jackson estate. It says, quote, "The outrageous and obviously false statements made by Toya Jackson are further examples of her willingness to say anything involving her brother for attention and money," end of quote. They go on to say that.
Stop there.
Well, I got to read the entire quote, Toya. Okay. They go on to say that Michael appointed them as his executors and say, quote, "Their success in generating unprecedented revenues from Michael's estate, coupled with their persevering, protecting, and enhancing Michael Jackson's legacy speaks for itself."
Family friend and former manager Frank DeLeo says he's seen the will.
Well, I will make sure that the will is lived up to. And I will make sure that everything that the children or Catherine in the will be done. That's the important thing, is to carry out Michael's wishes, not everybody else's, Michael's wishes.
Joe Jackson says the family has not seen the will.
I think we're going to have to wait and see whether Michael Jackson had a will, if he had set up trusts for the children. But it's also possible there was no trust, in which case whoever is guardian for the children will very likely be in a position to be managing whatever assets they get for their benefit.
And while it's been widely reported that Jackson has mountains of debt, as much as $400 million, his assets as a former friend and business partner, Mark Schaffel, are plenty to take care of the kids.
The assets are more than the debt. I mean, the Sony catalog is an incredible investment. That's going to be worth money for the rest of its entity.
Since Michael died last June, he sold 31 million albums. I mean, what's happened is really ironic, because before he died, for a few years, his career was cold. Right. And his finances were in shambles. And since he's died, everything's taken off. Everything.
31 million albums. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
And Sony wants to stay in business with him as a recording artist. And you have to remember that this amount of money, which is really, they're saying 250, but it's really about $225 million. That amount of money is just for recordings. Right. It doesn't include his publishing. It's not merchandise. It's not live shows that they're going to have around.
Right.
You know,
based on his music. Okay, sure.
This is just for the recordings, and it starts with Sony owed the estate money for the "This Is It" soundtrack. Okay. For the movie. So that's already part of this deal.
Oh, this is part of that deal.
Yeah. So that inflated.
Quite honestly,
yeah,
this might be a very, very good deal for Sony.
Oh, this is a great deal for everybody.
Yeah.
It's a great deal for everybody because Sony's always been in business with Michael Jackson
Right.
since 1979.
Sure.
So they want to keep it that way. They have the catalog, and this is very good for them.
You know, I think I went and looked up the Elvis estate.
Right.
Because a couple of years ago, somebody spent $100 million just to get a piece of the Elvis estate.
Right.
Because it still generates, after what who died in his 70s.
But that includes...
Still generates all kinds of money.
That was a good deal, but that was just merchandising.
Right.
And even Madonna and Jay-Z have deals that were pretty lucrative last year.
Right.
But they included concert tours and all
Okay.
that.
All right.
The only deal that was close to this was Bruce Springsteen, also at Sony,
Right.
5 years ago, got $100 million.
Interesting.
And that was very
just-
controversial.
Right,
But
right.
this is really the big deal of all time.
So how does this, it's very interesting because, you know, we observed his family so closely through
Yes.
all of this. They must be pleased.
Well, the kids are really the beneficiaries of this. Michael's 3 kids.
okay.
Because it goes to his estate. And they're the prime beneficiaries. And his mother will get something. But those are really the only people who really get anything out of this.
So Joe and the brothers do not stand to gain from this per se?
No. Well, you know, Joe Jackson has been petitioning the court asking
Yeah.
for an allowance.
Right.
Even though he wasn't in the will, specifically not in the will. And now I can tell you that he's been offered a monthly allowance of $15,000 a month, and he doesn't want it. It's not enough for him. So he's still carrying on in court. But that's a whole other story.
Wow.
But the kids, at least, who are great kids, and they're fixed for life.
Wow, that is
indeed. So hopefully they'll grow up nicely and be able to spend it well.
Michael Jackson's only daughter, 27-year-old Paris, walking into a Los Angeles court Wednesday morning, seeking transparency and accountability from the executors of her father's estate.
No comment.
John Branca and John McClane were appointed co-executors shortly after the King of Pop's death back in 2009. In the nearly 17 years since, they've taken the estate from over $500 million in debt to an estimated net worth more than $2 billion. However, for years, Jackson's children and executors have been feuding about how the estate is being managed. Most notably, the pop star's 3 children, Paris, Prince, and Biggie, raising concerns about excessive attorney fees, bonuses, and gifts they say Branca and McCain have given to themselves and their associates. The most recent trial brief alleging that Mr. Branca has lost sight of his fiduciary obligations and belies executors' constant claims of transparency and diligence. Of particular concern, $625,000 in non-contractual gifts to law firms without consent of the heirs. The executors firing back, claiming the fees, bonuses, and gifts are just the cost of doing business, and that Paris is ignoring an earlier ruling saying they are entitled to an award of attorney's fees.
The way the estate attorneys frame it is that they're not probate attorneys getting paid an hourly rate. They invested in this. This was a business, a venture, and their investment paid off. The fees they didn't take up front, they are now earning on the back end.
The executors also pointing out in court documents last year, Paris received approximately $65 million in benefits from their handling of her father's estate. This isn't the only time Paris Jackson has taken a stance on her father's legacy. She notably distanced herself from Michael, the upcoming biopic about her famous father, starring her cousin, Jafar Jackson, posting on Instagram,
I just prefer honesty over sales and monetary gain.
So, Liz, bottom line here, exactly what is Paris and her brothers, what are they asking for?
Yeah, Craig, well, a source close to Paris says they want more accountability and more transparency about how the estate's money is being spent. Specifically, the Jacksons are asking the court to reject any bonuses for attorneys that are billing an hourly rate, or at least require that the siblings give their approval for that. The source close to Paris called the court hearing yesterday contentious, but they said they feel good about how the day went. They are still awaiting the judge's ruling.
What you have to look at and think about, look at it this way. These are the guys that knew Michael was worth more dead than alive.
Welcome back. Michael Jackson's film, This Is It, is the highest-selling concert film and documentary ever. Earning more than $250 million, it was released after his death and highlights how some big celebrities like the King of Pop continue to rake it in even after they pass away. Yakenda McGahee has more.
It is said that imitation is the highest form of flattery. And in the case of Michael Jackson, imitation on film, on stage, and on wax has catapulted him to the highest earners of all celebrities, both dead and alive.
Many of the times when we have this most dramatic effect, it's when someone does die young. So we've talked here about Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley, and now we're talking about Michael Jackson.
Experts say the Jackson estate has earned over $1 billion since his 2008 death, mainly from music and memorabilia sales.
Last chance and selling.
Publishing deals, his Sony record music catalog, 2 hit Las Vegas Cirque du Soleil shows,
We're here for Michael Jackson.
and DVD earnings from the top-selling concert film, This Is It. So it's easy to see how Jackson became the highest-earning celebrity last year, the 3rd time in 5 years that the top-earning celebrity came from the grave. But when there's a lot of money to be made, says USC law professor Ed McCaffery, there's also a lot of money to be paid.
If you die with assets, stock, bonds, real estate, cars, jewelry, artwork, that's worth more than $5 million, the government's going to take 40% of the excess over $5 million. In Jackson's case, he didn't die with a lot of liquid assets because he was broke. His celebrity image, his property rights, he says in his estate that it was worth about $2,500. The IRS comes in and says it's worth $540 million.
Experts say if it is determined that Jackson's image is worth in excess of $500 million, Jackson's flourishing estate could be subject to a U.S. tax bill in the neighborhood of $200 to $300 million.
All of his things that you see are being sewed and thrown into just so many different mixes, and the movie came out right away. As a matter of fact, by the time Michael passed, right away, everything was being collected. Again, I was told all the footage from the movie was collected. Everybody, the doors were locked. It says no.
Making a movie, right?
We have to.
Because this is a part of a premeditation. Everything was premeditated.
Well, we're going to find out more in this book. Latoya, thank you so much for coming by. We want to thank Latoya Jackson.
I'm just checking in to make sure you are still watching. So yeah, wake your ass up if you were asleep. Anywho, thank you again. And if you could give me a thumbs up, and if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do. Thank you.
Latoya, I don't appreciate you trying to use my name in a negative way. You tried to act as if I said I didn't like you, and I've never said that. And this has nothing to do with personal. This is strictly business. If you want to say anything, you say I'm real, because that's what I am. And if you don't like it, go in the bathroom and hide. Go and hide. Go and hide. Don't ever try me like that, ever.
I'm right here. You don't have to yell. Nene is nothing but a big bully, I promise you. She has a big mouth. That's all she is mouth and height. And she uses that for her advantage.
She got up out of your chair and got in my face.
You got up out your chair.
You were strangle me again.
She's so ridiculous. I will strangle you and throw your ass in that
I know. She told me she brought me over. She snapped my neck. She said she snapped my neck.
I will snap your neck. Snap your neck and pop your eyeballs out all at the same time.
I am stunned.
Don't you try to act like you're the reason why we won, because you are not.
Calm.
I worked my ass off while you sat there and looked like Casper the ghost.
When you can bring your voice down,
Let's be clear, Casper.
Are you done?
You fooled a lot of people with this, but you've not fooled me.
Are you done?
You've not fooled me. Be gone. Disappear, ghost.
Honestly, Nene's acting this way because she feels she can run over me. And I will not stoop to her level. I refuse to do that. Because we're torn from 2 different cloths. I'm sorry.
The only reason why you've gotten this far is because of your last name. And you faked it for 50 years. You are very old, and you need to play your age and not 12. You're an old lady.
Two ladies just do not get along. It turned a little ugly.
Now, Nene's come here, and we've had a lot of fun with Nene. In fact, she's looked me dead in the eye and said, baby, you need some brown sugar every once in a while. And I have had some fun with her. We have a good... But she was over the line there, and if Nene were here today, I'd say that was just flat out mean. Latoya Jackson is with us right now.
Good
How did you
morning, guys.
Good morning,
It's good to see you guys. I love you, Billy. You know that.
I thank you, Latoya, and I love you too. But
you.
In this moment here, you felt very under attack from Nene.
I did.
And I thought you handled yourself as well as you could. Well, how did that get to that point?
Nene's Nene. I mean, that's her character, and that's what she does. And I kind of overlook it. I try to the best I can, but sometimes she kind of gets to you. Because if you don't defend yourself, she will come after you even harder, thinking that she can really take over and take advantage of you.
But do you feel like this went personal? We know it's a TV show. You can fight over the task that you're doing, but this seemed like it just was personal.
I just didn't understand it. I really, truly didn't understand it. We're doing this for charity, but I think everybody forgets about that. Totally.
I thought Nene was like under attack from Star. I thought she felt like Star was, you know, bullying her, and then she bullied you. She called you Casper.
Oh, yeah.
What, why? Because that's
she calls me
light
more
skin?
than anything else. Yes, yes, of course. And she's just constantly yelling. Constantly. And it's like being in prison, actually, when we were doing this show. I love Donald. I think he's fabulous. I love everything that he's been doing. But I had to get on the show with these girls. Such strong personalities who would do anything to get ahead. And I believe in playing fair. I'm sorry. That's
Since
just
it's
me.
aired, has there been any apologies from Nene?
Oh, Nene and I, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I have definitely forgiven her. Definitely.
So she apologized?
Yes, she did. She did. Actually, she
Was it one of
apologized
those-
while we were doing the show.
Latoya, Omarosa, let me just ask you. Are you back? Are you friends again, Latoya?
We were never friends, and I don't think we'll ever
Could you
be
be friends?
No, I just don't want anybody just trying to run over me so that I had to tell her what to do.
No, boo.
Because this is a team effort. We're all working together here on the script, and I just want you to know that. No, please be quiet.
Oh, no, you're not going to tell me to
No,
be quiet.
I'm
You're about to
talking.
get
I
the
want
other
you to be
side.
quiet.
You're going to be respectful. So you can say whatever you want, but you're not going to disrespect me. So let's
Omarosa?
get that straight. Don't ever tell me to be quiet, Latoya. You will be respectful. You're a project manager, but you're not going to disrespect me.
I am always respectful.
Okay, then being
Who is the
quiet,
most
saying be quiet.
disrespectful person sitting in this room right now? You tell me.
You're being disrespectful, and
No,
that's not
I'm
good
asking you a
leadership.
question.
Look up good
Who is the
leadership.
most
Being disrespectful is not good leadership.
But I'm not
Look
gonna
it
let you
up
run over
and
me.
take notes.
I am not going to let you
being
run over me.
disrespectful will never work for
Omarosa?
me.
It was crazy when Latoya stood up and put her hand on her hip and cocked her neck. When a black woman does that, you know you got problems.
I will take you down.
I will not
I will
disrespect
take you
you.
down
I
if you
don't
disrespect me.
What kind of lady is that will take me down?
What kind of lady would tell you to be quiet? I'm a grown woman. I run a company. I run half of the West Coast for OK Magazine. You're not going to talk to me like I'm 4
Did you
years
guys get that?
old.
She runs a company half of the West Coast.
Okay, then act
They
like a
know
leader.
that. They know
A leader
that.
motivates. You're demotivating your
I'm
team
not
now. So get
demotivated.
control of your team.
No, I'm asking
get
you to be
control of your
quiet.
team.
Could you be friends with Omarosa?
And for the record, I never once said anything negative about Michael Duncan Clark. He's a wonderful. What I
you can say
don't
about
you
my
dare
fiance who passed away.
First of all, he wasn't your fiance.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. All right. Okay, in other words, Penn, in other words, they're friends. Omarosa, easy. Omarosa, easy. Okay. Who needs you two guys? Who needs you? Okay, good. So you're getting along beautifully now. That's good. That's the way I like it. Peace. Peace.
All right, so Latoya was here last week, and Latoya told, remember everybody, Latoya
We
said...
have a nickname for her.
What is it?
L-I-E, Toya, because... Well, think about her past. Can we just think about her past? If you do that to your family, you'll do that to anyone.
You're dressed like Michael today.
Yes. This is in honor of him.
But in her early 30s, Latoya veered away from Michael into treacherous waters. She married her manager, Jack Gordon, 20 years older, and a convicted felon, who she says took control of her life, moving her away from her brother's influence.
And these kids are going to be scarred for the rest of their life.
During the time of your marriage, you accused Michael of being a pedophile.
Yes.
But I cannot, and I will not, be a silent collaborator of his crimes.
Gordon gave me this piece of paper and he says, read this. He goes, you better say this. You say this.
Jack Gordon forced you to say that your brother was a pedophile. Did you think he was?
No, I did not. The courts have proven that too as well.
Why did Jack Gordon want you to say that your brother was a pedophile?
He had this hatred towards my brother that I can never explain to you why it was.
Just to make things very clear, you recanted your accusation. Are you sure today that your brother never had any undue relationship with a child?
Barbara, Michael is not. He is not.
He is not a pedophile.
No, he's not.
There is a book out that suggests that Michael was gay. Do you think he was?
No, absolutely not.
You think he liked women?
Yes.
Let's get into the tea. What's going on? If my family member needed me and the whole world was accusing me of something awful.
Which family member? Dearly departed Michael?
Yes.
Okay, go.
And then the world says, Toya, do you think your brother did it? Wouldn't you say, and stand by your brother? What did she do, world?
Refresh us.
She turned against him and said, yes, he did it. And then she held a press conference and sold a book. The sad thing is, Toya has a problem with the truth. And so when she was sitting here lying, she was not telling you the truth.
Here's what she said. I'll refresh your memory. Okay, so LaToya said that that Omarosa is using the death of her not her ex-fiance, her dearly departed fiance, Michael Clark Duncan, to get ahead in the game.
I said that if we lost, I was going to bring her back in the boardroom. So we lost. But she starts crying right in the boardroom because Michael Duncan Clark is passed. And I said, oh my God, Trump's not going to fire her. He won't fire her now because she missed a loved one. I know what it's like when a loved one of yours passed. And she started crying.
Oh, Toya, she was playing the game.
Have you heard of crocodile tears? Oh my God.
You've now filed a defamation lawsuit against LaToya.
Well, that's not what the defamation is. You know, she went on a couple of shows, including yours, and she repeated some really awful things.
Yeah.
She made some accusations about me and my fiance. One, you don't talk about my man.
Okay.
He's deceased. Have some respect. It's despicable.
But
it's despicable.
But I know what comment specifically you're talking about, and it wasn't here on this show. It might have been like on Anderson Cooper or something, because I watch all the talk shows. She
repeated it
again
and again.
You tell what it was.
So even if my attorneys were sitting back and they're looking like, is she bright? No, she's not.
The thing about the plug.
Who says that? I mean, it's despicable. I won't repeat it because, one, I love my man.
LaToya said that Omarosa probably pulled the plug, probably was the one that killed him. And,
she did.
And is that the reason for the defamation lawsuit?
Absolutely.
You made a strategic move in this case.
Yes.
And you chose not to take Omarosa with you in the boardroom.
I did.
And why did you decide to move like that?
And that was the biggest mistake.
Yeah.
I should have brought her back. I was bringing her back, and she started the tears, the crocodile tears.
Yeah.
She knows you have a heart, and she did that purposely. Because she doesn't cry during the day.
She doesn't.
She keeps crying in the boardroom.
She's so full of it. I just don't like this girl. I made my decision based on Trump. I felt that Trump was buying what she did. I also felt that Trump would not get rid of her because she made good TV. And I thought Donald bought it. And I felt that he will not get rid of her because, you know, they need that villain. They need that bad person to keep the mess started up. They want to keep it going. I go, what do I do here? If I was in a catch-22. There it is.
Yes, crying.
Catch-22. So, yeah, I should have brought her back. Absolutely. Are you kidding?
Can I ask, your scenes with Omarosa were vicious and horrible. I mean, watching you two, we felt uncomfortable watching it. What was it like going head-to-head with Omarosa?
Very uncomfortable. I don't like confrontations. I don't like to fight. And I get very nervous. And I shouldn't say that because people like her will take advantage of you. But I was so nervous when she was yelling at me. I felt like I was going to faint, but I remained strong, like,
Well, there was something in there, and I think what really pushed one of her buttons was you made a comment about Michael Clark Duncan, her fiance, who passed away, and you said something along the lines of that she may have caused that heart attack.
But that was way after. That wasn't with her. I don't think. That wasn't with her. That was like an OTS.
Would you take that back?
Absolutely. Are you kidding? And you're saying things on the spur of the moment and things of that nature, and the behavior of the individual, which all the teammates were just like, why didn't you do it? Why didn't you just take her out?
Is she suing you for that? Because I read on, you know how you see a million blogs and websites. It said that she was suing you over that comment.
I have no clue. I haven't been served anything. I have no clue. And under what grounds? She doesn't have any grounds.
Well, you know if it's on the blogs, then it's true.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's good that I like that.
I got your wig, ho. Ha ha. Ew. Like JK, but like maybe not. But thank you for watching. But you hating ass bitches always have something to say. Hating ass bitch, but you're still watching my vids. What? You're so upset. But that's like okay, because have a piece of bread, have a Xanax, relax, because I said what I said.